On this episode of System Integrators Weekly, there are big changes going on over at Alexander PCs and something very special, plus some big news for iBUYPOWER. All that and more on this episode of SI Weekly.
Let's go, nerds!
Hello everyone, I'm Braethorn. Welcome to SI Weekly. And yes, there are some big changes going on over at Alexander PCs. And Alexander PCs, if you're not aware of them, they're pretty much one of the pretty much the most popular SI within our community, especially if you go look at the SI testimonials. Pretty much 100% positive feedback, with a lot of feedback there. And yeah, we've got a little special surprise going on over there that's going to be something very limited edition that you're going to want to check out. And we also have some very big things going on over at iBUYPOWER. And for their 25th anniversary, they're going big. And there's a big new partnership that they've announced recently. So we're going to take a look at that and what that could mean for you. Now, Alexander PCs and iBUYPOWER may have their things that they're doing in their announcements, although I'm part of one of those. But I also have my own announcement to make for you guys really quick. And it's something that is really exciting for me, something I've been working on for a while, and that is a new merch store. There is new merch over at braethorn.tech. That's right. You just go to my name, which you see here, .tech, and it'll take you to the new merch store where I have a bunch of all new designs, things that I've thrown together with a lot of work. I mean, I actually designed a lot of these myself, and these two jackets, the light mode and the dark mode RGB jackets, are like, I love these things. I actually have the light mode one on order for myself right now. And there's even a denim jacket, Cuddles, if you're working on your own Canadian tuxedo or you're looking to add to your collection. By the way, Cuddles is our editor. He's very Canadian. You can get one here with RGB on it. And for those who don't know who our little bee buddy is there, his name is RGB. That's who he is. 3 different t-shirt designs, including the classic right here, the more recent one here, and then the latest design right here. A pullover and 2 zip-up hoodies, 2 hat designs, and I mean, just look at this thing. Check this thing out. I mean, come on. That is totally sick. Look at him. You see his little eyes right there. He's really excited. Yeah, it's all going to be embroidered. Even got him on the back there. My name on there as well. And it's awesome. And I put actually a lot of time into this one too. I mean, look at the circuitry there coming out. And yeah, just really cool with the gradient. These all over print jackets are really cool because I can literally do whatever I want. It's all, I'm very detail oriented. And if you are too, you might like this stuff. So plus this hoodie also comes in purple, that's just great. Everything's better in purple. Anyways, please check out the new merch. It's a great way to support the channel, support my endeavors to help people find the right pre-built for them, while also getting yourself something nice in the process. But back to actual pre-built news. Let's get to that stuff after I let you know this video is sponsored by VIP CDK Deals. The best place to go when you want to get yourself an OEM Windows license to get rid of that annoying watermark and unlock all the customization Windows has to offer. So instead of paying well over $100 for a retail version of Windows, you can get an OEM key for a fraction of the price. Plus, you can use my code BRAE25 to get a nice fat discount off of the already discounted price. Keep in mind that this is an OEM key that gets attached to this system and cannot be used with another one or if you change your hardware. Make sure you get the right key for your operating system. For more information on how to use CDK Deals, click the link in the description saying here's how it works, and I'll walk you through the whole thing. Thank you, CDK Deals, for continuing to support the channel. Now, before we get into that stuff, some quick disclaimers. This video is being recorded for this date right here, and any pricing and availability that you see in this video can change, especially if you're talking about any special promotions or limited time deals. And that's very normal. If you're looking for any guidance on to find whatever PC is right for you, come by the YouTube channel or my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Braethorn, on Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, and I can help you one-on-one. If you fill out the form that is linked in the description below, you can get on that list to get help there. You just have to be there. The next one is you're going to hear some opinions here, and yes, those opinions are my own, of course. And if you disagree, that's totally fine. You can do so in the comments below, and do so politely if you don't mind, because that's how you have good discourse, and that's how we learn stuff. And then after that, this is not financial advice. This is the things I'm saying here are, as previously stated, my opinions, and I'm doing this to help sort of arm you with information before you go out and spend hundreds or thousands of dollars of your hard-earned money, so you can make an informed decision for yourself. And the last thing is, if you're looking to buy a pre-built PC, please be aware that you are spending extra money to have someone build the PC for you, test the PC for you, and warranty the PC for you. That does cost extra. These companies have employees they need to pay, bills they need to pay, all that good stuff. And that money needs to come from somewhere. You are paying for a service. Now, that being said, if you're on the fence between going DIY or going pre-built, that may make you lean towards going DIY, and that's totally fine. If you're pretty much dead set on getting a pre-built, no judgment here. That's what my whole channel's about, and you're in the right place. That's just something for you to be aware of before we get into this, which is what we're doing right now. Let's get into this. So, Alexander PCs has, over the last couple of years, built a sterling reputation with our community when it comes to support, the quality of their builds, and they are more on the boutique side of things, but there are some surprises to be had. But the thing is, when I first looked at them a couple of years ago, I guess it's a couple of years ago now, isn't it? A year and a half ago? Anyway, whatever. They just had a website with pre-configured systems with no customization options, and I criticized them for that. I've since sort of relaxed on that. Not every system integrator has to have a configurator. There's SIs out there that will have like 4 or 5 builds that you can choose from, and they're pretty much pre-configured. And if that's your jam, that's totally fine. However, what TJ, the owner of Alexander PCs, did with my observations was he turned around and started slowly making some changes to where you could add more RAM or more storage or swap to a different GPU, whatever was most appropriate for that build. There'd be 2 or 3 options there, but they're now shifting over in a big way. And we're going to see a few examples of that here before we get into this little thing that's peeking out there at the bottom where it says Alexander exclusive. You can kind of see it there. We'll get to that. It's a big deal. Now, I want to talk very quickly here about some of the value that you get from boutique builders, and in particular, in this case, Alexander PCs. Now, when you go onto any of these PCs, like we take a look at the huge list of ready to ship PCs that are here. I mean, you see how many are here? There are 2 pages of this, okay? That's a lot of computers. I mean, it's probably not 2 full pages. It is almost 2 full pages. I mean, we're talking about a lot of systems here, okay, that are just ready to go. I mean, these ship in the next business day. Let's click on this one that's $1,100 right here. That is RX 6600 and 12100F. But yeah, you could build that cheaper yourself. But I want to show you something here, something that's particularly important, I think. Price includes shipping anywhere in the continental United States, shipping insurance, our lifetime parts and service warranty, thermal paste, of course, client's choice of cable extensions from the cable library, so you choose the color you want. In ready-to-ship systems, I don't know if that's still the case. I'm pretty sure in that point they're built and you don't change the color, and that's all included. GPU support bracket for all 3-fan GPUs, and double-boxed packaging with Instapack expandable foam protection. Sales taxes will be calculated and collected at checkout where applicable. So there's a lot of value to be had there. If you want to extend your warranty with most SIs to something that's like 3 years or like 4 years, 5 years, you're going to spend a few $100s doing that. To give you an example, I'm going to look up a similar system on iBUYPOWER, okay? And then we go here, and you have the choice to extend your warranty. You get a 3-year labor, 1-year parts warranty. And then you can upgrade to a 4 years labor, 2 years parts, and then 5 years labor, 3 years parts. That 5-year warranty for labor, 3 years parts is $309. Just consider that. Even if you're doing a custom system that's around $1,200, if you want a warranty that's 5 years labor, 3 years parts, you need to add a significant percentage to that. Whereas with Alexander PCs, a lifetime parts and service warranty is included. And I have seen this company bend over backwards to legitimize that and back it up. So remember that moving forward when we're talking about pricing. So we're going to back out of this because what we're going to actually be looking at is their sort of all gaming desktops set up here. So just looking at, say, the Auxilia, which is a hugely popular system and a great way to get into PC gaming. Though it may look like this is one system, there are many choices here. First off, you can choose the color of the system between black and white, okay? And that does adjust the price slightly. Remember, no matter what system you get here, you can use code BRAE, B-R-A-E, to get $50 off any system you get. Intel or AMD, which also can change the price of the system as well. And then you have 3 tiers here as well, okay? So tier 1, it has to do with the amount of RAM and the GPU that you get. This is an RX 6600 with 16 gigs. That's what you get by default. Tier 2 moves up to 32 gigs of DDR4 and an RX 7600, and that goes up to 1158. Tier 3 goes up to 32 gigs of RAM and a 4060, which would then go up to 1208, which would be 1158 after discount. And remember, shipping included, warranty included, all that stuff. So some of the systems have received this treatment, and it's very, very cool. I actually reviewed one of these systems on stream, and having talked to TJ about it, we actually held off on me releasing the full review. I'm gonna try to crank that out, get it out here really soon. That's just one system, and they have actually a really good number of different configurations. So you can get an Alexander PC with a lifetime warranty starting at around $978 minus $50, $928 with shipping included, warranty included, just taxes if applicable to you. You want a pink system? There's not many system integrators that will sell a system in a pink case, and that's a shame because it looks awesome. Here's the Centurion, the more recent version of the Centurion. Okay, like so say we click on the Centurion in white. This is the Intel version right here. Here you'll have a little bit more of a breakdown of what you can get and actual specific models of GPU. So you want it's a 4060 Ti Gaming X Slim White from MSI. You click it right there. Otherwise, you get this is a white system, and they will do everything they can. Every one of these options here is a white GPU because it just matches better in the system. I mean, they go out of their way to do this kind of stuff. You can choose your cooler, you can choose the amount of storage you have, and for systems where you don't have a choice for storage on the actual page itself, usually when you're checking out, there's an option to add more storage as well at checkout. So it starts from around $928 all the way up to the Legatus at $5788 with a top of the line 4090, I believe a 14900K in this case, full on Lian Li fan. You can't even see it because I'm not even showing it to you. This is in the 011 Evo with all, Lian Li Infinity fans and, the Asus Ryujin 3 cooler right here, which is not cheap. The screen on the back, like this is not a system that has a cheap motherboard and just, whatever fans come with the case or whatever, the cheapest AIO possible, and then just CPU, GPU gets all the attention. No, every component is carefully selected. But looking at this system, if you want to know why certain parts were chosen, you want to know what your money is going towards, it's all laid out for you right here. And then it has a lifetime warranty. If you want to see all the full specs, they're right here. So Ryujin 2 360 or the Corsair iQ H150 Elite LCD-X for your cooler. Asus ROG Strix Z790 is the motherboard. Z790A, I should say. 64 gigs of RAM. So if you're looking to get into content creation, this thing's ready to go. Okay. Storage is 2 terabyte Kingston Fury Renegade, 7-inch native LCD screen mod inside the case, all set up for you. This doesn't obviously show the value of the cable extensions, and the lifetime warranty is hard to quantify. But if you just want to know what it would cost to get the core parts and build it, every one of these builds has a link that will take you to a PC part picker list where the prices are sort of locked in at a certain value, like whenever they were configuring the system, so that it's very clear to you, hey, this is what it would cost me to just buy the parts, more or less. And you can see how much of it is going to be going towards lifetime warranty, shipping, all that stuff. There's another thing that they added in, and that was the thing that I talked about when I first encountered Alexander PCs. They're finally venturing into having a configurator. Now, this is currently limited to just Intel, okay? And to be clear, let's talk about that really quick. So there are going to be, there's people who go DIY and people who buy pre-builts, right? That's already a separation right there. And there's going to be some people kind of in the middle of that. Cool, no problem, right? But among people who buy pre-builts, there is yet another separation. There are those who will buy a pre-built and just leave it as it is, never mess with anything in there. Or if they make any upgrades, it's something really simple like adding storage, maybe swapping a GPU at some point, but still the easier upgrades, if anything. But by and large, the average person that is not really going to touch their PC will just get a new one whenever it's been 5 or 6 or 7 years and they're just ready for a new computer. And then this one goes to their cousin, or it gets, put in the media center or something like that. Then there's the type that is getting a pre-built in order to get into DIY, or maybe they're not actually looking for that as a hobby, but they want to get the most value out of their system possible. So they want something that they can upgrade over time. Now, most upgrades done are minor upgrades like adding storage, maybe swapping out your RAM for more RAM if you want to add use case to like, hey, you know what? I want to get into amateur music production. I want to get into some video editing, stuff like that. I just need more RAM. Bam, pop those out, click in the new set, XMP or Expo, and then you're good, right? Even then, that person may never touch the CPU to upgrade it. They may never swap the CPU for another one. And that's fine. So what you want to be aware of, if you're the type that actually would upgrade your CPU, you want to make sure that you're getting a system where you can upgrade it down the line. Anyone who has a DIY channel and is talking about, hey, what should you get if you're going to build your own PC right now? They'll tell you should get AMD, and they're right. AMD's socket AM5 is going to have support for much longer right now than socket LGA 1700 with Intel that is reaching end of life pretty much this year, okay? When I say end of life, it doesn't mean it's going to melt or explode or anything, okay? I just mean they're not going to be making new CPUs for that platform anymore. So with 14th gen Intel, that is the most, that's going to be the last generation of CPUs for socket LGA 1700, the current platform for Intel. With AMD, you have socket AM5. And that has Ryzen 7000 series. And 7000 series Ryzen has been around now for about 1.5 years, and it's going to be around for quite a while. They initially stated support up to 2025. That's and beyond is what they said. But we're probably looking at, considering the fact that they only stated that they would support socket AM4, the previous one, up to 2020, and they're like still releasing CPUs for it. That's AMD. You're going to get value out of their platforms for a long time. Whereas that's kind of a weakness for Intel. That's kind of something that they're not too keen. They don't really care much about that. The reason I just yammered all of that stuff at you just now is because you need to decide for yourself whether you are going to eventually want to upgrade your CPU or not. It's a bit involved. And if that's something you want to do, well, we have a series coming out this year called Pre-Built Rebuilt that will eventually have a video on just exactly that. Very easy to understand, really easy to follow video on how to upgrade your CPU. Okay, how to swap a CPU. So if that's something that you're thinking you'll want to do, you need to keep that in mind. Even if you're not building it yourself. The reason DIY content creators will always say at AMD right now is because if you're already building a PC, you're probably going to want to upgrade that PC, and you'll be willing to do that. You were willing to build it in the first place. But if you're buying a pre-built, that's not certain. In fact, no one should assume that someone buying a pre-built is going to treat it the same way as someone buying a bunch of parts to put it together themselves. So I try to approach it that way, and I will then put it upon you to decide whether you think you'll ever upgrade that, or whether you think that you'll just use it until it's not keeping up anymore and just get a new system, which is also fine, okay? But let's take a look right now at the Intel Core Custom Build configurator for Alexander PCs. So this is going to follow along with what you would normally see with a configurator, where it's going to start with the case, move on to core components, and then you get into other things. You could totally go with the XPG Starker Air in pink. That's what that P means. If you wanted to. If you want to go with the O11 Vision, they got it. You want to do the O11 Evo RGB in white? Sure, there it is. And also that opens the door. Once you go with a more premium case, that will unlock higher end CPUs. Because larger cases can accommodate more cooling for the most part. That's why you're going to see those differences. I am curious though. Let me go with LAN-cooled 216. And yeah, LAN-cooled 216 can totally accommodate a 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler. So yeah, you can get the i9. But if you're going with a deep cool CH370, like you get with the Auxilia, you can't fit a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler there, so it takes the i9 out of the equation and the i7. Now, just for the sake of this example, let's go with the Landcool 216. It's a very nice case, not overly large, really great airflow, really beautiful fans up front. And we'll go with the 14700K. Cool. Or you can go with the 14500. Sure. You know, you can choose whatever options you want. Now, the motherboard in this one is limited to the Asus TUF Gaming B760 because this is not a Case U processor. If you go over to a Case U processor, then you can get a Z series motherboard, including the new ROG Maximus Z790 formula, which I always like the formula boards. They're just beautiful. For a white build, perfect. But in this case, since we're going with just the 14500, you know, and you can totally game on that. That's no problem at all for gaming. That's a great CPU for gaming. I think one thing I would like to see here, and I would say that that's a note for Alexander PCs, is some kind of thing to show a little bit more about the motherboard. You know, even if it's just a picture of the rear I/O or something like that, because some people are going to want to see that. Usually me, but still. Choose between 32 gigs of DDR5 or 64 gigs of DDR5. Both of them will be in a 2-stick of RAM configuration, okay? And you have a plethora of coolers to choose from here, okay? All the way from just an Assassin X here, Vetru V5, also in pink, which would look great with that pink case, all the way up to the Ryujin 3, which is the latest one from, you know, Asus. And then you choose your storage, okay? And nothing less than a terabyte here, which is nice to see. No one can mistakenly choose to get a 512 gig drive, which you would want that. Now, what is chosen by default? I guess an NV2. So say you wanted to go with a 2 terabyte NV2, you could, and it's $65 more. And it's only $60 more to go with the 2 terabyte KC3000, which is an excellent drive. 7,000 megabyte per second read and write speed sequentially. Yeah, really awesome drive from Kingston there. You can choose secondary storage. You can choose the graphics card here. Now, because this system is up to a specific spec, it's not something where you can get, say, a 14500 CPU and a 4090. That's a little bit too out of balance. You might want to at least go with a 14600K or something if you're doing something like that, and that can totally run with a 4090. But yeah, you can, if you can see, you go with the white case, gives you white GPUs to choose from, and only specific power supplies. Yeah, so basically choosing some of the parts here are going to affect the choices you have available later, but it's going to be kind of organic. If you're going to be getting a big case, like the, you know, something like the O11 Vision or O11 Evo RGB, don't get this case and then put budget parts into it. You don't need the additional cooling available to you in an O11 Evo case. But once you start getting into a larger case, then you can do something like the i7, throw that in there, and then you're going to start seeing things like, oh, now we have a 4090 available, 4070 Ti's, 4070 Supers. Okay, there you go. And also you get to choose your fans. Choose a style of fans that you want. Uni fans of all types. So these a lot of Lee and Lee fans here. And if we change the case to black, watch this right here. Watch the magic. Do that. Now all of it is changed to black. Okay, all the motherboards are black now to accommodate that. And the RAM matches. The coolers match. Okay, the storage. No, I'm kidding. All the GPUs match. They'll show you which ones are out of stock, which is nice. That's awesome. I love to see that kind of thing. A lot of work went into this. The fans match. Oh yeah, okay. So I haven't upgraded the GPU. So if I upgraded the GPU, that opens up more. Actually, no, it just tells you, hey, you're getting a 1300 watt power supply because you have an i7 and a 4090 in here. Let's just make sure you have all the wattage you need. It's honestly a nice, straightforward configurator where your earlier choices will affect what options you have for your later choices. That's the configurator. You know, I do like it. I do like it. I don't like the thing where I don't get the name that's like static, like say the model of the motherboard. That just like disappearing is, it's clean. It looks clean, but I guess I can just search that way, but it's not the whole name of it. You know, that's just me. What if you're not trying to do all this configuration stuff? You don't want to go through every little bit. Well, that's what most of their products, most of their pre-configured models are for. They have taken the time to optimize these PCs spec-wise, and they have these paragraphs in there that will tell you why they made each of the decisions they made on those parts. So what we did was, let me take you back real quick. Back when we first started talking about Alexander PCs, and I got a read on TJ, we talked for a while. We had a few conversations. I got some good feedback from people, like right off the bat. We decided to do something that I'd never done before. That was a collaboration PC, and that was the Braethorn edition, limited edition Centurion. And you know, it was gone like really quick. Now, mostly because the Centurion at that time was, I think, around like $1,500, something like that. It was, you know, earlier specs, earlier hardware, earlier industry for one thing as well. But also it was right before the holiday season. So those were gone like immediately. However, we've changed it up this time. And now we have the Legionnaire Braethorn Special Edition, aka the BeeGionnaire, as TJ has named it. So what we're looking at here is the Legionnaire system with upgrades. Now let's talk about the components here, okay? What you're getting with this is the aforementioned Intel Core i7 14700K, which in my opinion may be the best CPU for LGA 1700 in terms of like just how, all the different things it can do. It can really do it all. Now, to go with that, we have a 4070 Ti Super, which has gotten a nice little upgrade from the 4070 Ti, which is now out of circulation. They're not producing those anymore. It's all 4070 Ti Super for the same price that the 4070 Ti was before. Plus, it gets a really nice, solid boost in VRAM, which can be very useful. Goes from 12 gigs, which it was with the 4070 Ti, to 16 gigs of VRAM. And then you're looking at 32 gigs of Kingston Fury Renegade DDR5 6000. I've used quite a few different kinds of DDR4, different brands. Some of the most stable RAM that I have used has been Kingston Fury Renegade. Kingston in general just makes really good memory. Storage is exactly the one I mentioned before, the 2 terabyte Kingston KC3000. Nice, fast, reliable, good longevity, great drive. Motherboard is the Asus Tough Gaming Z790 Plus Wi-Fi if you get the system in black, and the Asus Prime Z798 Wi-Fi if you get it in white. These motherboards are very similar to each other. Like they're basically just different colorways. And that's what it is. Okay, power supply is the MSI MAG A850GL PCIe Gen 5. So that one has native PCIe 5 or 12VH PWR connector. And the MSI MAG power supplies are generally very highly rated on the PSU Cultist tier list. So it's a really solid power supply in 850 watts, very easily handles the i7 and the 4070 Ti Super. Now the CPU cooler for this i7 is something that you may have some questions about. That is the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 240. Now a 240 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler might be a bit questionable for the i7 14700K, and certainly if you're running something like a synthetic benchmark like Cinebench, that full, you know, that which just hits your CPU with an unrealistic load for a long period of time, if you're running like the 10 minutes or 30 minutes of that, it's absolutely going to thermal throttle. Like, yeah, for sure. But then again, Intel CPUs are kind of designed to do that, and as a matter of fact, it's been stated by an Intel engineer that if your CPU is not running at 100 degrees Celsius, you're not getting your max performance. You know, you take that or leave that. You know, that's them. I'm me. I'm not sure that I like that thought or the fact that CPUs kind of went in that direction. However, under normal gaming use, this thing is totally fine. Plus, the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 has a thicker radiator than most all-in-one liquid coolers do. Those usually have a 27 millimeter. This one's thicker than that, so you get more surface area for cooling. And the case is the Fractal Design Pop Air RGB. So let's take a quick look at this actual build here. So what you're looking at is the black and the white version only. Now, it was tempting to go with like the cyan or the pink versions. You know I would be totally into both of those, but not everybody would be. And in this case, there are going to be 20 systems available. And of course, if these sell very fast, then, you know, TJ might say, hey, we'll do another 10. But it's really about GPU availability. If everyone orders them in white, they are limited on the 3-fan MSI 4070 Ti Supers. So looking at these cases, though, the Fractal Pop Air is a really cool case. Really nice, tons of airflow. You have this little compartment here, which is cool. Like you take off that little panel, there's like a drawer in there, or you can put an optical drive. But what you'll notice there is it says LGN. That's my slogan. That's Let's Go Nerds. That's the whole thing. And on the side here, you'll notice the little RGB vinyl stickers there as well. Now those are cool. They kind of dress it up, but you can totally peel them off if you want your PC to look a little cleaner. But what's on here though, that I love is this, the etching. So this is basically they etch themselves. They'll lay out the vinyl, they'll etch it. It's actually chemical etched and everything. It's not just a machine doing it. Because it's right by these front RGB fans, it's really nice because then it will, of course the glass is not on this one, it'll actually diffuse the RGB from the fans and it looks really nice. So that right there is more subtle than the stickers. So if you want to go subtle, you totally can. Take those things off, put them on your other stuff or whatever. I think it was really smart to go with this because it's a fun way to make the PC have sort of that limited edition, sort of some customization on it, but that's not permanent. So if you want to take it off, you totally can. But yeah, absolutely sick system. Now let's talk about the price. So price is $2748 for the black and $2788 for the white. Yes, there is a little bit of a price bump there because different parts are used for each one. The thing is, this is the price of this, and you might be thinking, oh man, that's kind of a high price. I don't know. I know this thing could do some pretty good 4K gaming for sure, and definitely will kill it at 1440p gaming and like 1080p. Forget about it. Like this is, you know, full on esports levels of like hundreds of frames per second and all that, but that's a high price. Yes, this is a high-end system. Here's the thing though. We priced it out at two other system integrators, one of them being a larger but still considered a boutique builder, and the other being a high volume seller, one being Origin PCs and one being iBUYPOWER through their custom system. If you get an iBUYPOWER ready system, that's going to be cheaper because you have no choice on the motherboard, you have no choice on the RAM, you have no choice on anything. You get what you get in the system. To actually fairly match it, you need to go through a customizer. You need to go through a configurator. And with Origin, they're very specific on cases. They don't have the same case. They don't have the same cooler. They use all Corsair stuff. But something equivalent was used. And this price beats both of theirs, including iBUYPOWER, with their standard warranty, not the 5-year warranty. And this comes with lifetime. You put it that way, that's pretty great. I'm really excited about this. And there's not many that will be made. So if you're interested in this, if you've been a fan of the channel for a while and you've been kind of sitting, you've been on the fence about it, and you're not the kind of, you don't care whether you can upgrade the CPU down the line or not, you're going to have a 14700K, which is going to be good for, you know, the next 5-6 years. It's still going to be good. So I'm really excited about that. And I love working with Alexander PCs on stuff. And, you know, even though TJ and I don't agree 100% on everything, speaking of which, by the way, if you want to get all of your cables for your modular power supply shipped with the system, you do need to request that. So please do, if that's something you want. I like to see a system come with all the cables regardless, just as by default, because people resell their systems and you want to have all of the stuff for that, right? And that's my opinion. He and I disagree on that, but he gives the option to send all that stuff. So if you're getting any system from Alexander PCs and you want to get all your cables, you do need to request that. So don't forget to do that. So let's move on to a very big announcement from iBUYPOWER. And iBUYPOWER has partnered with Riot Games to be the official PCs of VCTA Americas, which is a pretty huge deal actually, because I don't think Riot has done a partnership like this with any system integrator that's been so elaborate, so all across the board. I mean, when someone gets an ace during these tournaments, they're doing a PC giveaway every single time. It's nuts. But to go along with this, man, that guy's really excited. Those people are so excited. It's a big deal. So to go along with this, what they've done, so 4 models are going to be available right now that are the official sort of systems for VCTA, ranging from 1879 all the way up to 2549. Okay, none of these are obviously very crazy on price. Now, these are not, from what I can tell, customizable. Now, some of these specs, like the most basic system, comes with a 7800X 3D. So it's letting you know this is esports type stuff, okay? 7800X 3D and a 4070. 2 terabyte M.2 drive. I do wish for this one, this is like probably the only system that I would have any kind of hesitation with, for 2 reasons. One of them is the 4070 not being the 4070 Super. I think that money went into having a 7800X 3D CPU instead of like a 7700X or 7600X. And also the M-ATX motherboard. Not a huge fan of that in a full ATX case. The saving grace here, though, is the fact that with the system, it's in a Y40 case. So it's blocking the bottom of the motherboard. You can't even tell that it's missing anything, that it doesn't have the extra expandability down there, that there's no gap. And you're generally not going to use that expandability in a Y series height case because you would have to use all half height cards. There's a whole thing behind that. But I do think that that should be a 4070 Super in my opinion. But I'm glad they went with a 2 terabyte drive for a system under $2,000. Well, not at normal price, but on sale under $2,000. That's really nice. Plus with this, you can use code Braethorn. And for this one, you should get $50 off. For the ones that are over $2,000, you should get $100 off. And that would qualify this one right here. This one has an Intel. So they have 2 systems that are AMD, 2 systems that are Intel. This is the lower priced one that's Intel with an i7 14700KF, 32 gigs DDR5 6000, and a 4070 Super, 2 terabytes of storage. That reminds me, there was another thing I didn't agree about with this system here, and I'm gonna be honest. It goes for all of their ready to ship Ryzen systems, and it drives me out of my mind. It's been pretty well publicized and very, very much AMD has been very straightforward about the fact that DDR5 6000 is a sweet spot for Ryzen 7000 series Zen 4 processors, Zen 4 architecture. And in the ready systems, it is never that 6000 megatransfers per second. It's always like 5600. But the Intel systems get the 6000. Like, why? It should be 6000 for, like, put the 5600 in here. Intel CPUs are not as susceptible to lower frequencies as Ryzen are. Ryzen is notorious for preferring higher frequency memory. That's going to be a 1-to-1 memory synchronization, and that is not optimal here. You're basically taking the best gaming CPU in the world and then pairing it with something that is not, like, they don't get along as well as they could. You're leaving a little performance on the table. Is it going to break down? Is it going to mean that you lose all of your matches or whatever? No, not necessarily. I mean, unless you're bad, in which case the right memory is not going to help you anyway. But it's just knowing that fact. All of these get a 2 terabyte drive, like Gen 4, 2 terabytes. I love that. Like, there's good stuff going on here. Don't let my griping totally just make you think that I hate these systems, because by and large, they're quite good. Like, then you start to get the ones that are in the Y70, and you can imagine how a bunch of these are going to look on the stage with those 14-inch 10-point touch screens and that are super high resolution and super bright, just pumping out graphics and stuff like that, distracting the players. It's going to be amazing. This one's the Intel version. Again, 14700KF and a DDR5 6000 megahertz kit of RAM, 32 gigs, 2 terabyte drive, Gen 4, 4070 Ti Super. This one costs more because the case costs a lot more than the Y40. And then the next one is going to be very similar, but 7800X 3D. But overall, when you're looking at the specs here, they're very familiar, except for that F right there. That kind of spoils the system for me because, like, other than that, this system is like prime for content creation. But when you see the F in an Intel SKU, that means it does not have the integrated graphics in the CPU to let QuickSync work, to make QuickSync work. So it's going to fall behind on video editing, right? That's a pet peeve. This is for gamers. This is literally a gaming system. So I'm talking about if I were to buy this, like I would be like, it's got an F SKU processor. Why? Well, this is not for, I'm not the audience. I'm not the target audience for this. You might be, right? But you look here, and there's no F here. Nope. In fact, you go to the configurator, you can't get a 14700KF. You just can't get it. 240mm AIO for the i7. Yeah, same size cooler, but what brand is it? You know, if it's, you know, they're probably using deep cool for a lot of these, and deep cool is great. But a 240 is going to be stressed a little bit when that i7 is pushed to its limits in synthetic benchmarks. So the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 is going to have a benefit of having that thicker radiator. So yeah, it's 6 up and half a dozen down, if you get what I'm saying. But I mean, these are both great systems. If you want something that's going to be flashier, this is a fine choice. The whole purpose of this, well, there were two purposes. I genuinely wanted to share both bits of news, the new stuff going on with Alexander PCs and the huge announcement for iBUYPOWER. And I want to say that's a huge deal. Congrats to iBUYPOWER. You guys have done right by the community. You also have a good track record with the community when it comes to customer support, and it's no surprise. You guys have world-class customer support. Like, that is difficult to achieve and expensive to maintain, and you do it. But this is not me telling you don't buy this or buy that. This is meant for me to make sort of point those things out, where they're both good options. But which one's right for you? What resonated more with you? I'm not here to tell you what I like. Okay, I mean, yes, I am. Obviously, I do that a lot. But it's part of me sort of going through this process, is mentioning why I think something's better, why I think something is worse. But I want you to absorb the things that I'm throwing at you and make that determination on your own. Because for you, you might really be into that Y70 case, and who would blame you? Or go for the Y40 system. If you look at this one here, $22,099 right here. You can get $100 off using code Braethorn, and then you have a 4070 Super and a 14700 KF with 32 gigs DDR5 6000 and a 2 terabyte M.2 drive. There you go. That's that right there. 1440p gaming all day long. You're good to go. But I mean, if you're looking for a boutique experience, you'll know it. Like, it will make sense to you when I'm showing you someone like Alexander PCs. And for those of you who are the right customer for iBUYPOWER, you'll be like, oh, that makes more sense to me. But there's something I want to ask of you. Whichever one makes sense for you. I want to be clear that you shouldn't judge other people if the other one makes sense to them. And neither of these are bad companies just because maybe you don't like the pricing on one or the way they spec certain things out on another. That's going to be right for somebody else then. Okay? Both of these companies have amazing technical support. One has a far better warranty. The other would not be able to support that warranty because of the size of the company. Okay? That's their reasoning. But the tech support at both of them is typically very, very good. And for one of them, it's been 100% good, Alexander PCs. 100%. So both of these are good options. Which one's right for you? I can't tell you that. I don't know. But there's exciting things going on at both. So I wanted to share that with y'all. And let me know what you think in the comments. Which one was right for you? Instead of saying which one is wrong, which one you hate, which one is bad, or this is why all pre-built suck. Shut up. No one needs negativity. You don't think there's enough negativity out there? Show me some positivity. Which one did you like more and why? Tell me in the comments below. I'd really like to know. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope to see you guys on stream on Tuesday or Thursday at 8 p.m. Central here or at twitch.tv/Braethorn. Go check out braethorn.tech. Get yourself some drip. I'm not even wearing, it hasn't come in yet, okay? I'm wearing like Twitch merch and then like Pokemon, all right? Still a solid choice, but you know, wait till the next video. The next week's video, I'll have some merch on, okay? But go grab some merch if you want to support what I'm doing here. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And until the next one, take care.